So this viewer can tell me, you be funny though, LOL. I'm just telling the story as it is. It might sound funny. It actually is funny because real life is funny. How much of y'all know that this place is not a real place? And real life stories is extremely funny. It's some things that you just can't make up. It got to happen for real, right? And that's all I be doing. I be just giving you the facts as is with a smile on my face. Now, let me talk about some stories, right? Let me go into some old sayings, right? Things you've experienced. You know, it would be nice if y'all share some of the things that y'all experienced that just didn't seem real, but very funny. You know the old saying when the old people say, your own fart don't wake you? Now, what if I have witnessed this? And it's a true saying, right? Because one of my aunts was sleeping, right? And this, I kid you not, this is what happened, right? So, Betty bye and, what? Or nobody said nothing. Everybody just stared and it's like, nobody said nothing. Facts. This happened for real. My good friend, Harry Prasad, said, why don't say something about deodorant? I was like, what can what trauma have I suppressed in my mind about this? And I remember this 5 times, not one time. It happened more than one time. But back in the day, I don't know how it is these days, but back in the days, the conductors then would park the bus. It's probably still happening. You know, it's a legacy. They would park the bus. And then you might be the last person to enter the bus and you gotta sit down in the conductor seat and he has to be over you. I'm sure a lot of y'all have traumatizing stories about that, right? But when that arm reaches and stretches over that face and you have to keep your head in one direction, yeah, experience that. And it wasn't that bad, right? That wasn't that bad. You know, you just gotta hold your breath and just look one way. But I have seen persons in worse conditions, right? So here it is. Same scenario, right? Conductor seat filled, conductor stand up, pull the door behind him, and you know this guy cock this leg up on top of the dashboard thing directly behind the driver's seat and the passenger seat. So the leg cock up on the thing, right? And the hand in the air, right? And it depends, right? I kid you not, right? This is real life. This is real. I'm not making this up, right? I kid you not. It was a loose pants. It was a loose pants, right? Now nobody's concentrating on that area, but certain things you just can't miss, especially when somebody in this situation. So somebody was sitting there and the leg went up so high that the loose pants, you know, let's put it like this. The bollular structure, right? The wrecking ball was in there just breezing out. And the person was there enduring this because they were short and it was almost at neck height. And every bump, I'm not joking, it was a wild driver. Every jerk, every bump, you know, the bollular structure would, you know, if you go over a bump, it was right in that person's face. And this is real life. I quietly snickered to myself. I was going to school back then. And I was like, I glad that wasn't me. You know, it wasn't traumatizing. It was terrorizing. It was terrible. But I've witnessed this, right? And I've tried to say these things without smirking or smiling so that you know it's real. You know, tattoo the name so you know it's real, right? Next story. So, you ever bump your head on the door of the bus when you're going inside the bus? Well, I saw somebody bump their heads. All right, this one is about me, right? I saw an older guy, right, a senior citizen, coming out the bus, and he bumped his head, boom, before he come out the bus. How was that funny? It wasn't funny then. I was like, well, he knocked his head hard. I hope he survived because he old, right? Cool. But to understand how hard you just hit your head on the thing, you need to hit your head on that thing. I saw some people wig get twists from it, and it's until I experience it. So I was, the bus was putting off a passenger, and I had to stand up outside because. So I stand up outside, and it looked like the bus was rolling off. I was going to school, right? Have mercy. It looked like the bus was rolling off. So I ran to catch up the bus, when the door opened, just like if I was a professional conductor, like I got my conductor license. So I run to jump in the conductor seat. And upon entering the bus, I go, boom, hit my head hard on the bus door at the top. Now, apart from hitting your head and leaving, where people could just be like, oh my God, and who can laugh and laugh or whatever. As if I hit your head going in the bus and gotta sit down in there and smile like, yeah, yeah, I hit it hard, but people like, right? And you just gotta sit down and smile with the searing pain going through your head. So that was it. It was a headache the entire bus ride, and it was a headache for the rest of the day. So that happened to me. There's a real story, right? All right. Let me move on to another unbelievable story. I know y'all want to pull these stories, right? But this story has a happy ending, even though it was a bit out of control. So, neighbors, neighbors, beautiful people. So, two neighbors had it out. One, whoever reached the station first, then this will happen. We just GPL by. This is going in the show. Y'all bear with me. This is going in the show. This is real life. What I'm telling y'all about real life. What I'm telling y'all about real life. The show must go on, right? So please ignore the beeping. Hopefully it's not that annoying. So she entered the station. The neighbor made a report. They get called to the station. They go, her and her mother. And, the situation was escalating, and she arguing and she mother arguing or whatever. But somehow she was a bit more flustered than her mother. Mother telling her calm down or whatever. And you ever watch yourself playing out a story and you be like, this is not me. Why don't just calm down? But for some reason, in your real life state, you're like, no, I can keep, and you don't know why you're going on like that. Well, it was something like that. She kept going on and just watching herself like, why am I behaving like this? This is unbecoming, right? So a female police officer, because she's a female, calmly rolled up behind her, right? And proceeded to vice her. Like I said, bad part. Vice just slowly, and all she remembers waking up in the cell. Now, I see two things. You people might see the negative. I see the positive, right? The situation could have escalated more. There could have been an altercation. They could have probably get charge or more charges or whatever the case might be. But the situation was calmly settled, slowly, effectively. Sleep. Get up in the cell, calm as ever. Is what happened. Yeah. Situation neutralized. All right. How it was told to me was very more dramatic. But if you laugh at it, you see the point that I'm trying to make. I told that story with a straight face. And if you laugh at it, he's a terrible person. But the good news is that the girl ended up becoming a police. A day like today, she is a police. And that's because maybe she saw the effectiveness in calmly and slowly administering justice and de-escalating a situation. Now, this is a warning. Do not try that at home. But, in some cases in real life, certain things happen, certain things work, So, now, there are many stories about People call them madman or madmen on the road, mad people. But maybe they're undiagnosed and just running around and they don't have nowhere to go or no family or whatever the case might be. But yes, I had a run-in with one when I was going to school. A lot of things happened in my school days. It made me the person that I am today, a traumatized person. But that's okay, right? So I was watching a very innocent citizen, a very what should I say? A girl that is, she looks so pleasant as ever, and I don't know if this guy was anyway. She was crossing the road, and as you would see, a junkie, a guy, right? I guess he was more pleasant looking than how it looked. I'm saying this story with a straight face. So he was more pleasant looking than just one of the real raggedy looking ones, right? And he was like, excuse me, ma'am. Can I please bother you for the time? I'm not making these words up. These are the exact words, right? Nice English accent and so on, Excuse me, ma'am. Can I bother you for the time? She said, oh, yeah, sure. It's 8 months. Why don't you just... This is what the man... This is how the man lashed out and she run. She took off across the road. So, people, be alert. You can't just be giving out the time like that to people. There's no point to the end of the story. It's just that the man asked and the man holler. She replied and the man holler upon she. My experience now was going to school. I had this well-known madman that used to walk around with a stick, right? And I saw the guy coming. I used to go Christchurch. I came off at Camp Street. Now I'm walking up to head to Christchurch, Middle Street. And I saw the guy with the wood. He's there on a regular, but he never had a wood before. Today he had a wood. It's a big long stick he walking with. I was like, all right. So I walk in and I see this guy come closing in behind me. I'm a school child. I'm innocent. But I was thinking, what was this? What's this, right? And I see speed increase and my speed increased too, but the man was faster. Because the man know what's going on. I know what's going on. I just trying not to look shame and just trying to walk efficiently. And then, just like, when you're jousting on a horse and you joust the other person off the horse, like you just knock them off the horse. This is what the man did. The man jousted my hip. The man tried to dislocate my hip with that stick. The man mumbled something like, something like that. Something of this. That's what I heard as a child in my child brain. And jousted my hip. He tried to dislocate my hip, apparently. Right? So, another story that is real. It's real, said with a straight face, but you might find it unrealistic because real life is not real life. Some kind of life, any kind of life. I gotta say rice. We all know the advertisement, but yeah, yes. Now this show is about intellectual conversations. Intellectual conversations mixed with a little bit of real life, or a lot mixed with real life. But how can I help this when real life is so funny? I didn't ask for this. I didn't, I'm just telling it as it is. Or sometimes I laugh at it. Sometimes say it with a straight face and you laugh at it and you think I'm trying to be funny. But that's exactly how it's supposed to be delivered. Now, this is between me and two other persons, right? There was an ice cream caravan on the seawall that we used to work. I used to work. I was, yes, as you guessed, but it was, I think it was just after school or during August break when you're at home, summer break. So I went for a job so that I can earn bread to do whatever I wanted to do. And the ice cream caravan, I got a job there. And there was rules. There were rules. You'll get one hot dog a day. You'll get a drink free. And I think you'll get transportation home because there's a seawall and you're young or whatever. And the number one golden rule, right, is you could eat how much ice cream you want. It's unlimited. So that guy knew what he was doing. When the man make the rule about eating how much ice cream you want, the man didn't think about losing profits. The man didn't think about what licorice young child or, scraving child will come and work and eat out the profits. He didn't. I thought he didn't think about that, but that man thought about that. That was his, his way of teaching lessons. So, myself or the other person that worked there is one out of the three. I'm not at liberty to say because I don't want to out anybody. So if y'all think it's me, I'll think it's me. If y'all think it's them, one of them named Quace anyway, and the other one named Brian. Anyway, so somebody got the news about the all you can eat and thought it was a buffet like the girl at anyway, so they ate, but it was in spectacular fashion. The cup was created with nice caramel. They had a lot of toppings, right? There was sprinkles, there was nuts, there was caramel, there was chocolate syrup, and the person took the lot of it. Right? Mixed 3 different types of ice creams and so on. So they proceeded to have a feast, right? A buffet. And it's from 3 p.m. to 8. There's a certain time when your belly, right, can't take certain aggressive treatment. And there was a certain time that this ice cream had labeled on it, like anybody that had the experience with overdoing it with this ice cream would tell you that, yeah, you got about 3 hours before an explosion. So a person did his best to hold it in. But going back to what I was saying, the guy knew what he was doing. And the man knew a lesson would have been taught over the seawalls. Right? Profits probably dipped a little that day, but then, it was regularized, it was equalized because a lesson was learned, and that amount that was eaten will never be eaten again because that amount that was put out, nobody want to put it out again. Over the seawall. No Elephant Man sing the song Over the Wall? Well, yeah, that's where it went. So, like I said, this show is about intellectual conversations and so on, but real life just keeps just like what Cat Williams says, when real life wants to party, when Diddy wants to party, you got to say no, or else you can end up in a comedic role, apparently. So what have we learned today? One, the saying, we could say philosophy, you and fart can wake you, that's true. We could say that don't try to de-escalate situations because life has a way of like putting you to sleep. We could say that avoid the conductor seat if the bus pack, especially if you're wearing a short, loose, silky, silk lace pants. Avoid it at all costs. And don't overindulge. Don't overeat, don't oversleep, don't over nothing. Sometimes it's good to take life in moderation. Right? If you see somebody creeping up behind you with a wooden looking like this, you might want to run faster. Don't be ashamed. The biggest shame can come when the wood rests on your shoulder and the madman laughing over your butt anyway. Right? So avoid that as well. And if somebody asks you for the time, shout it from far. You could be attacked. So even though I've given real life stories today, and we had our intellectual conversation, we've learned a lot of lessons, and I still accomplish exactly what I'm supposed to do with this show, which is deliver Look out for the NVA Network app. And until next time, nobody don't tell me nothing.
Oh my god, Tiffany, NVA Fan Club is on. I'm their biggest fan.
You're now tuned in to
NVA Fan Club.